Happy Aquarius season to whoever this is. You know me, I'm the Holy Cow in case you don't. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Obviously, either the title or the zodiac sign in and of itself obviously resonated with you. Please use this entire archive to your advantage. Again, you know what this video is about. Before I even do this live, I'm going to go ahead and pick the next sign. Thank you, Spirit. I feel the need to open my cocky. Yeah, let's get that going. Cheers. It's fucking dank. Love a little topo. Holy shit, Pisces. Oh my god. Oh my god, Pisces. Okay, let me give you that energy. We are going to just do a quick Aquarius season overview for you, Pisces. I love you guys more than you know. Happy Aquarius season to you. Let's go ahead and channel the spirit. What you need to know for this Aquarius season 2026, this revolutionary time in our experience on this planet. Pisces. Aquarius season 2026. You received an Ace of Pentacles at some point from source. This is like, all right, congratulations, I'm gonna buy you a camera. And then you bought a camera and you made like this is like, I got a camera, I made my documentary full-length feature series with it. This is you basically taking an investment and aggregating it. What once was just an Ace of Pentacles is now a bushel of Pentacles, Pisces. Shit. Pisces, right now, you are representing a concept of collective harvest that is all about Neptune. It is all about, like, you know, if I don't fucking take a Pisces. I wanted to say Rihanna. If I'm Rihanna and I started as a teenager and I didn't know what it was, but my dream was one thing. It's like that, this record deal or this opportunity down the line in 25 years, I'm fucking not in Barbados in the fucking bag. I'm Rihanna now, right? You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like very much that. It's like that's the pipeline that you're on. It's like you are looking at Aquarius season 2026. You're starting off. You're looking at pretty much something that was, and that's what I'm saying, Pisces. I feel like you're the person right now that people can be like, or maybe it's even just like it's about you looking at your journey in this way, where it's like, you know what, no matter how much I may be beating myself up or no matter what I may be thinking is going on, it's really important for me to take a second to acknowledge that in terms of my journey, once upon a time, I only prayed for one of the guys. And now, I mean, we're definitely past that. Because I think with you, Pisces, sometimes every time you kind of push past and you go into that imagination realm, and it's like so much more than what you was really originally physically there. When you go into that like imaginative dreamscape, I think is the only reason you can kind of expand a vision like this. And I just feel like you really represent Aquarius season 2026, how much a vision can be expanded if we keep dreaming on top of the dream. This is like, again, this is like someone who's like, oh, I know what I'm about to wish for. If I get if God was like, I'm gonna have a genie come down and give you a wish and you do what you want to do with that wish. This is like basically being like, I'm a wish for more wishes. I'm a wish for ability to make a bunch of wishes all the time. It's like Pisces is on that type of frequency. So that's off top. That's what it's just like. It's like there's this review, and I think it also has to do with circling back in with your self-love. Like when you actually look at, and it's kind of like funny because I think I wrote a post. I know I wrote a post in the recent days on the community tab at the studio, and you know I was kind of reflecting on this conversation of, you know, if you actually just went back to the narrative that you started from, if you think about yourself in the context of where you came from, whatever you're doing right now, Pisces, that's you're the GOAT to those people. You're the greatest to have ever done it, because there's nobody who did what you did, and you mastered the context already. And so I just feel like, Pisces, sometimes because there can always be a bigger dream, maybe that's also the catch-22 right now, is there's a lot of Pisces where I feel like maybe you did also maybe even get a little bit lost, because there's always a bigger dream. There's always a bigger dream that maybe you didn't realize that like there was so much value in that first Ace of Pentacles. Another side, right? There was more. It's almost like you don't want to, it's like, it's two things. It's like you are capable of doing that. You're capable of like replicating, aggregating out the vision. But then this kind of comes into the ethics of it all, because I think you have to, I think what you're also realizing is like, there are certain goals you hit where it just feels like hitting the same goal over and over again as well. I feel the need to say that, where it's like, you know, if going in high volume doesn't always bring you a new experience, then maybe this is the universe being like, yeah, the first time I did it gave me the experience though. The first time I ever got this, or the, you know, this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's not, this is like quantity over quality. And I do feel like there's a big conversation with you right now, Pisces, where it's like, was it better to just keep making more of this or having more of this, or is it better to have the one thing that's really quality? I think you're also looking at, Pisces, you're kind of at a bit of an impasse as well. This is like, you know, I'm seeing it's all hoity-toity, but it's like you also might be at an impasse because it's like, this is like you're about to make a very big decision to decide whether or not you're going to trade. This is like someone who's like meets something, there's something that comes into your awareness that's like, this can be cashed in for the entirety of what I'm building right now. This could be like for example, if we're talking about a relationship, it could be like you come across someone where it's like, I used to have to keep 500 best friends on me, you know, a whole community of people around me, and then now it's like this one thing comes in and it actually is the same value of the whole bush that I already had. Do you get what I'm saying? This is a kind of a leveling up. This is kind of like, you know what I mean? This is where I used to have to show my fucking Balenci every fucking day, where now it's like there's something that comes in that's like even more valuable. It's like that decision, because right now I think you have the thing that has more quantity. I don't think you possess the thing that is of more quality, because I just feel like that's what you're contemplating right now. It's like, is it better to just have a bunch of it, or yeah. And of course this has to do with partnerships. This has to do with who you mixed in. Pisces, I'm not gonna hold you. I do really feel like Aquarius season 2026, you are making a huge judgment call about where you want to invest yourself. Do I want this life that has more of something, lesser value, maybe not as deep, maybe more shallow, maybe doesn't even feel as super specific? Or when it comes, because you're dealing with temperance, and temperance talks about the things that we're mixing and alchemizing ourselves with. But if we alchemize ourselves with everybody, if we're for everybody, Pisces, this is also like for like my Pisces artists, or for my Pisces that like do things, or that go out in the world and build things. It's like, is it better to have my business or my art or my whatever reach everyone, or is it actually better when I make the work that speaks deeply to the thing that is truly the most valuable? Because I just feel like it's like when you're asking for equal reciprocity, you're gonna have to ask yourself that card. I'm not here to make that decision for you about what's better for your circumstance. I am just here to let you know, Aquarius season 2026, that's what you're contemplating. It's like, you can very quickly and easily see, it's like, I have the thing that's more quantity. I know what it's like having a lot of this. And I don't know if that's, because I think you're looking at other things outside of you, or you're seeing the parallel where it's like, but I could just have one thing. And I think that's also a defense mechanism. It's like, maybe in your life, Pisces, you've always kind of just never let yourself commit to like mixing with the thing that matches your depth fully. Like, again, like I said, I think Pisces is at that place, just using for Rihanna, for example, where it's like, you know, we really talk about like, you know, fertility patterns and habits and things like people, and like what their ideology and psychology is about, like, you know, building families and things like that. But, you know, if Rihanna is the Pisces that Spirit is using for an example right now, it's like, you know, one of the things that would be happening at this checkpoint, which is like, however you're building your life up, whatever you have in surplus, you just want to be able to remember, because it's like, sometimes it's like when you add your fourth kid, you do have to remember that each kid though in the end will need individualized love and depth, and to replicate more children really would just be to repeat the same thing. I think you're learning that. It's like, there's something about what you're doing right now. It's like, well, we are just like repeating this thing over and over again. So it won't necessarily be like a different experience, or not even just that it won't be like a different experience, but it's like, it's not, you just have to know that like the core experience in and of itself will be the same. It's also kind of like a similar thing. It's like when you think about like albums or bodies of work, it's like, if you're at a point where it's like, I'm really just giving the same thing, like I could keep doing this, but it kind of feels like the same thing. There's like the two catch-22s, because it can mean that you found your formula, but for a lot of you places, I'm still seeing more on the other end of things where it's like, I kind of already like have done this, and I just don't want you to get to that place though, because it's about deeply alchemizing with like what's on your soul's path, and like really being able to be enriched deeply and fully for like everything, like band for everything that you have. So just more things to contemplate. Let's just see where this is going. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, Pisces. Ten of Swords. Crucifixion. Yeah. You're sending something through. You're sending an old identity altogether. You are like right now, the reason I'm doing y'all's reading at this point is because Neptune leaving Pisces finally once and for all means the whole old life is gone. It all has to go. And you're at the current, you're seeing, basically you're evaluating, you're at that place right now where you're evaluating what the entirety of the whole life has been up until this point. Because what the cosmos are orchestrating at this point is like the release of that. And then also the final like forced reflective period about why all of that had to end. And the reason for it is because I think Pisces, you were super into doing that, a little bit of everything. This is a lot to do with your path, I feel like. It's like, I kind of want to try everything, or I think I would be good at whatever, or I can hang out with whoever, or I want to let myself, and really you're trying to get yourself to this like more like temperance, where it's like we're alchemizing something a little more specific, a little more, a lot higher value, because like I said, it's like the difference between having a lot of small investments across a lot of interests and then really betting on yourself. Like because there can be times where you just kind of show your insecurity, where it's like if you spread yourself really thin sometimes across like a plethora of your interests or whatever, but you do know you have a really, really strong ability, and maybe it's just more about an insecurity thing. Like it's about the fact that you haven't really transformed your fears or faced your final fears about the thing that Pisces, you might even, there's some of you that have a partner, like specifically there is an ideal partner, but it would require you to go through this sort of shedding of an old self. And so the reason you don't actually go for the thing you really want, and you'll just take, like I said, it's like this idea of like lesser, it's like I'll just take the Fashion Nova clothes because I can get more of them, versus like getting the clothing that the original version of the boot that I really want instead. And I think you're learning a valuable lesson about like the Fashion Nova, the haul will get, sure I might have more, but I don't have anything that, it's never anything that I actually want. And it has to do with this impending fear of crucifixion, of the ways that we like would have to like really put ourselves, you know, on the cross for it. I think there's the issue with like vulnerability, about being able to step forward and claiming something deeply and saying like, I really want that just one thing. I don't really need, because it's a big conversation about how like you come across something in Aquarius season where you would give, you're being shown, you're being suggested by the universe. Like, unfortunately, fortunately for you, it's like you could in your heart like trade everything you have in your current life for this new one thing. And it's kind of scaring you because it kind of feels like frightening. It's like your worst fear, because it's like, am I insane for saying like I just saw an energy outside of me that opens me up to a whole new world where I really genuinely feel like I could drop everything I was doing and go do that. That's the kind of stuff that you're going to be dealing with as soon as Neptune goes into Aries tomorrow, type of shit. And this is hard because it means you would have to uproot your entire foundation, Pisces. It's almost unavoidable. This is like the karma you have as a Pisces coming in, because it's like you're gonna have to uproot your whole foundation in order for you to realize, because you can't do the Pisces thing, which is like, I don't ever want to be vulnerable, so I'm going to just like dabble around, or I'm gonna always just kind of be all over the place, or I'm gonna kind of just like spread my seed around. And I think that represents a deep chronic fear of being punished, of being put to death. It's like something on your soul. This kind of conversation of like, I just heard spreading my seed around, like really maybe if that was a subconscious thing that you've been doing, because we already talked about that, no post-nut clarity in the last check-in we had together. But a lot of that would be a derivative because you don't want to be crucified. I think Pisces, you have a soul memory of like when you followed true love. I think you have a memory, it's very similar to like Romeo and Juliet or like Dracula's heartache, right? Where it's like, I have a memory though of the last time that when I really followed my heart on some shit, it got me killed, it got me crucified. And so then I think you did the Rihanna thing, which is like, I'll just take the like what I can get. I'll take the, you know, the little bit of everything, instead of like getting hyper specific on like what it really is for you, you know? Because in a lot of ways, you know, we're just gonna use Rihanna as an example, but it's like she was known for her vocal talent, her musical talent, right? And then there was a very big pivot, you know, post 2016 to where it was like, I'm going mogul. And from a spiritual perspective, I really felt like this incessant need to kind of like prove the status was like on the soul, because when you're taking, you know, people of color from certain demographics and you're bringing them into this sort of like echelon of like breaking through certain consciousness without a lot of support from the collective they come from, it can be very isolating, I feel. And I think it can cause a lot of insecurity about whether or not we should keep committing, because I think more than anything, like, I mean, I'll say this, like with, like, mind you, Like Breaking Dishes was like my favorite fucking Rihanna song ever, brother. Like the fucking Disturbia fucking Deluxe was like my shit. Brought that shit back to front. But I think I would still say I would trade in all the landfill garbage of, you know, makeup, cosmetics, and lingerie and fashion and all the bullshit that Rihanna ended up going and making a fortune out of for just like her music. You know, I think that was, I'll always say that. I would have preferred her to keep going there. You know, Anti was my shit, brother. I was in college when Anti dropped, so it was like, you know, we was lit, you know. So it's just like, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like whatever the impending fears, but I think there's something, it was like there was an impending fear that you had. There was like maybe like this idea or this soul pain of like feeling like whatever your original niche was, or the thing that you maybe, like, again, that Ace of Pentacles that you would really go for. It's like there was a pivot at some point where you thought you like wanted to do a lot more stuff just because. And this is a theme with a lot of Pisces artists that I really love, truly, like that I've loved throughout my life. I think is like one of the things that I've noticed with their trajectories. It's like there's always going to be this notable place for a Pisces artist that I'm a fan of, where it's like at some point they kind of feel like, ooh, let me dial it back because of some, like, obviously like trigger wound, and then it's like they dial it all the way back to the point where it's like, now I'm just going to start doing a lot of other loose stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like just in case, like, I'm not as good at the thing I really love pursuing as I think I am. And I feel like Neptune ending its transit through Pisces and going into Aries is going to make you face that fear brutally. I want to prepare you for that. You're going to have to face the fear brutally. You're going to have to shed the skin and die straight up to the old self. And it's the whole entire old foundation, because the old foundation, again, is, to me, Pisces, what I'm seeing is like, it's a foundation you made out of the insecurity that, like, well, the one, I don't want to be fucked up. I don't want to be bad at the one thing I do. So I'm going to just try to go in all these other places and be the Pisces person that can just, like, do whatever. But it's not really like those things really, like, brought you greater fulfillment necessarily. I mean, yeah, you're probably successful in your Pisces. You're the most conscious of us. You can manipulate the fucking ether and get anything you want. But again, it's just like, when we look at legacy building, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's just that I have a lot of interest. But in my opinion, you just water yourself down. Not everything is your path, right? And I think it's always funny when we talk about capitalism, everybody wants to act like my call was to make skincare. That's not your call. Like, my call was to design and develop makeup. That's not your call. You know what I mean? So especially if you're some sort of artist in any way, you know, you have that artistic ability. So that's a huge 17-minute download. Let's look at your recent past Pisces. Let me see. Yeah, recent past Pisces. You were confronted with the Eight of Cups. This is so funny. Because I think a lot of Pisces understand the Eight of Cups. They know, they feel it on their spirit. It's when you get presented with the thing that you already know it's outgrown. You already know. But this was you being incentivized. This is like a little bit harsher too, because it's like being confronted with the fact that it's time to like move past all of these empty cups, being confronted with the fact that it's like it's time for you, that you've gotten all you can get out of something. And again, I feel like Pisces, if you're someone who's like, you already know you've gotten all you can get out of something, and you've also been shown where you're being asked to go forward, and you continue to just repopulate, again, you don't need to have a fourth or fifth child with that man. If you're still searching for meaning, go to the cup, go to the next cup. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to you just don't have to do that, Pisces. You don't have to ignore and not act like the reason you completely emotionally dropped out of something is because something that actually deeply satiates your emotional capacity has been not only presented to you, it's been offered to you, and then you're just ideating on like Seven of Pentacles world. Like, I'd rather, right, still staying in the quantity over quality world, because the whole point of this Ace of Cups coming to you wasn't to punish you. It was to show you how to be someone who could supply the Nine of Cups, who could provide for other people, from yourself, though, from your own self, sourcing things. Not from exploitation, not from being well-liked, not from... Because, again, a lot of Pisces that are successful right now, their success was built on stealing people's consciousness. There is a debit for that, okay? I'm not promoting Rihanna because Shorty is still classified as a billionaire. There's a lot of slavery and exploitation in that. I don't care if you think you're a black person. It doesn't matter to me, okay? You have to really... The ethics are there. You have to look at the ethics of what you're doing. Yeah. When a King of Cups comes on you and delivers a message to you and lays it on thick, it's a lot. It's a lot, Pisces. It's a lot. Because this King of Cups already came up to you and said, I'm ready to mix. And you sit up here lying, like, it's not even like you're lying on your spirit, but it's like you haven't shed. This is harvesting this bush. This is like going through this and talking about like what's actually salvageable. It's like you can just stare at a bush, but like it's like my grandma in New Orleans, she has a bunch of guava trees in her backyard. But it's like, the guava trees too, if you don't pick them, they all just go raw. They just fall to the ground and go shitty, right? And that's kind of where you're at right now. It's like you haven't decided, you haven't chosen what's really your path. And I think you're still in the Pisces, Neptune land of the fact that I can be like famous and known and I can kind of glide here and there and I'm a businessman or I'm a businesswoman and I also do this and I also do that. But you have a niche, you have a purpose, you have a path. And I think it's enough, it's time for you to stop with the being chronically scared to claim loudly your path, Pisces. Because I think a lot of you also need I think this King of Cups is going to show you don't need all this other stuff to also prop you up. Like I think there's a lot of things with Pisces where sometimes it's very obvious to me where it's like, you're the most conscious of us all. If anybody's educated in astrology, they would know that. And still, you tend to find most Pisces really not feeling confident that they could and should just go for it. They could and should just do it by themselves, right? You find a lot of Pisces that I'd be looking at, it's like, Pisces, why did you even sign that label? Like, you didn't even need to do that. I think that's, using around an example, it's something that she'll come to find later on. It's like she probably started her career needing a lot of people to hand her out to help her connect to the vision, only to be known now as someone who, like, employs others, gives others opportunities. So then if you really went back in her timeline, if she was to do that reflecting, there's this depth that would want to like emerge there, because it has to do with minimizing the options. If you want to always have a million options and you always don't really want to get specific on stuff, that's why you're always going to have this haunting, looming Eight of Cups, because it's too much. It's too much. These aren't even just like your things. These are just things that you're volunteering. That's like, the thing about the Eight of Cups is like everything you built it stays right there. And it does not come with you. And it kind of just is whoever stumbles upon it and finds it later, it's all theirs. You know what I mean? And I think you work too hard for that. But I think this King of Cups has been putting these pressures. This is a mature, deep message that comes to you this Aquarius season, Pisces. And it's going to make you reevaluate everything, because you're going to feel really pulled to cut the whole bush down and start mixing with this one thing. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not even going to lie to you. Whatever you were doing when Neptune was in Pisces in the Piscean age, you're not going to do it. You're going to union. You have a soulmate. You have a specific path. You have specific people that are actually for you. You don't have to. Because again, one of the things that I will use, again, I'm just running reread up because Spirit said I can. But, one of the things that I also want to question with people is like, when celebrities want us to fucking buy that their soulmate is another fucking celebrity. Unless you niggas came up together and became, it's probably not, and again, always allowing yourself to just shop around in that space is just not truth. It's just not truth, it's just not, and you don't need to be in an echelon of celebrity, but I feel like that's kind of the frequency right now. It's like, you're about to come into union with your soulmate, and it's going to make you do the brave thing. It's going to make you claim, one, exactly who you are and what you are really, truly here to do, not all the shit you can do. Because again, Pisces, that's what I feel like this is about. It's like, there's a lot of shit you can do, and you have done it. And then you do the Pisces thing, and it's like, everybody's obsessed, it's all successful, but it's not really helping you, though. And that's what people wouldn't understand. That's why we have these chats, you and me, because only you and me know. It's like, well, yeah, on the outside, I'm a beauty mogul, I'm a fucking momager, I'm a fucking rapper, I'm a fucking trapper. It doesn't matter what you are, right? But on the inside, being spread so loosely across all of these things doesn't really make you personally feel more successful, because you're just doing the Pisces thing where it's a no effort. I don't really have to try, right? Because I'm a master man. I'm a master in terms of consciousness as a Pisces. So this new union that is coming for you, in order for you to make, because I'm seeing in February, I said February, but again, Pisces, for a lot of my early Pisces, it's like, by your birthday season, you have the opportunity, you're supposed to be at a union. You're supposed to be in union with your actual soulmates. Straight up. The real things that are very specifically for you. Not the things you could do, not the best pick of the litter, not the best of the rappers you could marry and have kids with, but the person that's actually for your bitch ass. Your actual person. Because right now, you could even be deeply with a person and it's still a part of that cycle where you're just kind of spreading your seed. Again, I keep saying spreading your seeds all over to see what grows. Because you have a wound that it won't grow. You have a wound, you had a wound that you wouldn't be successful, that you couldn't do it yourself, that you couldn't just commit to what you're really good at and believe in yourself from the start, from the finish, and just be good off that. Because I really feel like Rihanna killed the vibe, for example, with Anti because of how her attitudes after her art after that. it was just so obvious that there was a deep insecurity. It's like, respect, we all go on our journeys, right? I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, it's like, you just really tell. It's like, girl, why are you so, what the fuck happened to you? Why are you so insecure all of a sudden? And then, yeah, we can rebrand it as like, no, I was just trying to go boss mode. I was just trying to go billionaire. Anybody who wants to be a fucking billionaire is having a hard time. Okay, look at Jay-Z, look at Beyonce. Why are we doing that? Because at the end of the day, Beyonce is just a regular woman who has to deal with the fact that she has a marriage where the covenant was broken and she had to recover from that. And that's something that everybody's gonna have to deal with on their own terms. But that's like really the real tea. If we take away celebrity and we take away her being Queen Bee, that's really what it is, you know, with Jay-Z. She's just like the rest of us. She's just like any old bitch in the hood whose nigga done ran out on her. Except for her nigga did it in a global sphere. So, you know, it's like stuff like that. It's like, you know, I just feel like you really know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like, you really built this life that unfortunately the whole thing's gonna have to go, and it's for great reasons. It's because in fucking Aquarius season of 2026, you have an altar call, you have a date you gotta make, and you've been invited, you've already been communicated to this where you need to be, and now it's just about the damn, I'm gonna have to hollow out this whole foundation, this whole thing I was doing, because it was all a part of a cycle that I was doing all this and committing to all this when I didn't feel like I could just be who I was and like I was going to be accepted. And that's huge. Like I said, there's a lot of Pisces that don't actually think that their person or the people that they need or the resources that they need are actually out there for themselves. And so they go into the Pisces thing where they just try to be good at whatever, because you kind of are good at whatever, but you're also meant to do something very specific. And I think this is just about you being rewarded in Aquarius season, a very specific thing. Yeah, this is huge. Pisces, King of Pentacles reverse, Knight of Cups. This is exactly what I said. Remember how I just said, you know, it's like, I really find it hard to believe when celebrities are like, my lover, my soulmate is another famous person. Maybe, probably not though, right? Probably not though, right? Because there's 7 billion people, 8 billion people in this motherfucker, right? So this is literally Pisces. You're about to have a radical change, because you're not going to use your status to tell you what your intuition wants you to follow. You're not gonna, because it's like putting up bumpers. It's like if you shop for your husband in your A-list celebrity clan, then you just limited yourself. At the end of the day, I think you're just dealing with that. It's like, well, that's still a limitation. Even if they're all rich, it doesn't really matter if my nigga's rich and fly and, you know, liked by the world. It doesn't make it any more for me. And so I feel like you're about to make a very radical move that's kind of denouncing that, like, I'm not going to use my resources and my physical manifesting abilities to make the decision that I need to make for my heart. You need to just fall in love with what's really for you. You need to follow the passion that's just really for you, not the one that people are like, let's make you into a pop star. Let's make you into, maybe you should go into fashion. Maybe you should design a shoe. It's like, that stuff never really panned out for you, because it's all getting collected on, because a lot of that stuff you made, good for you, but it was bad for everyone else because it required taking other people's consciousness. So when that gets collected on, you're going to see how much that other way of life, where it was like, I just spread myself across a bunch of stuff, doesn't work, because it took you stealing someone's consciousness. Whether it's like, I'm also seeing a lot of Pisces with like baby mama issues, right? Like, or baby daddy issues, where it's like, you know, maybe you're spreading your seed all over the place. Okay. But the problem with that is like, you're still harvesting someone's consciousness, because if they're not actually your divine partner, that's a karmic debt. Do you get what I'm saying? And so now you have to you have to remove the investments. This is where you're like, I'm not, when I go on the dating apps now, I'm not gonna be telling them I'm Rihanna. I'm gonna be me. You know, I gotta be whatever the real thing is. You know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of frequency, because your next step is about following your heart, not your status, in order to develop out the unions that are actually much more fulfilling. So you don't need as much. You don't need to be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really easy to see through these fucking fraudulent ass couples in 2026. Because why? If you need a bunch of stuff, that means you guys can't just sit on the fucking bed and co-work and we don't have nothing most of the time. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, because Pisces, until you do this, you're going to be locked outside of the things that are actually for you. Because again, making a life out of protecting your ability to be okay, is the issue here. Like, it's like, if you're too scared that you're gonna not be all right or not be accepted or whatever, so you just kind of this is like, no more casting a wide net, like hook, line, and sink them. You know, you don't have to be general. You don't have to ask every bitch out. You can wait and discern, and actually, and I think it's because you know what's for you. You know the things that speak to that inner version of you. I just think it's a matter of facing that fear of, when I follow love, I get killed for it. Something dies, or the love will die. Something like that. It's like, it's intense. Let's look at the fear. I love this for you, Pisces. Pisces, you cannot fear except Neptune and Aries. Because I think you're fearing it because of the funeral that's going to have to happen. You're getting a new beginning, but it does mean everything else has to die. And I think Pisces is the collective that has waited the longest to die to self, obviously. I think you guys are literally waiting up until minute like 0 with Neptune and Aries. Like, you're riding out Neptune and Pisces all the way till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? You're riding out Saturn and Pisces all the way till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's fine, but it's like you have been manifesting this sort of like constant healing era because you're so scared of your new beginning. Again, comes back down to the new passionate beginning that Spirit gives you scares the shit out of you because you're a Pisces who's like, when this ends, I'm going to be sad. But Pisces, it doesn't end. You can no longer be Pisces scared of endings when you represent transcendence. That is what I should say the title of your reading is. You cannot be Pisces who is scared of endings when you are transcendence. That's who you are. So this is a big reading about being like all of this stuff that represents you. Is that like this is no longer fearing who the fuck you are truly who you really are. You can't be scared of that. And I know nobody but Alexis gets the fucking right to say that to you because nobody in their right mind would ever think that a Pisces is scared. Most people who don't know shit about anything would be like, Pisces, they're fucking great. They're fucking happy. They're fucking blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you right now, most of my Pisces right now, I'm telling you, they have a fear of being who they really, like a chronic one, a chronic. That's why you're probably smoking all that chronic because you're fucking scared. You're chronically scared of being who you are. So I'm going to tell you this Aquarius season is going to be karma. Justice for yourself and for your Wheel of Fortune. So basically, long story short, there's a lot of places that you can be Pisces. The old life that you made pre-tomorrow has to be completely hollowed out. You know exactly why. Because you've already been introduced to what is actually for you. And now it's just in direct opposition because what the life you're living is too general. Your life is supposed to be way more specific. The life you're living is too general. You're supposed to be doing something specific. You're supposed to be giving specificity. And so the justice for you would be for you to have a Wheel of Fortune that feels specific. So it may not look like being King Tonka and traveling to Mallorca if that's not really fulfilling you. It might be that the truth for you is that like it's something more. It could be any fucking thing, but it just may not look like whatever the fuck you were spreading your net so wide to do. Because I think you're realizing it's like, you know, I'd be fulfilled with a bitch to go get a matcha latte with consistently for the rest of my life. You know, I'd be fulfilled with some friends for real instead of just employees. You know, I'd be fulfilled with like a hobby or to be able to get back into that sport I used to love. Shit like that, brother. And I think that's what's coming for you 2026. Also, Pisces, I feel the need to share this with you because I'm working on my lymphatic system in general, and just making sure that I'm always doing some sort of like dry rubbing in order to keep circulating. So also remember to keep your circulation going. But I think that's the situation. It's like, you know, you gotta really make sure that you are draining out all the old while you're also building up that new, and you'll be really successful. But this looks beautiful because no matter how much this key fear is like the scariest thing in the world, the great news about justice is that it's trying to get you to the thing that will actually make you feel fortunate. Because I think the sucky thing right now is there's a lot of Pisces who are dumb rich, dumb well-known, dumb successful, dumb they're in some unrelatable echelon. And this is one of my biggest critiques is like, you know, you can't be someone who's like a billionaire, millionaire, trillionaire, well-known celebrity, famous, cool, big, whatever, and then you still be going to bed every night hating yourself or some shit. You know what I mean? That's such a waste because there's so many resources that are being allocated to you, and you still, like, what I'm seeing Pisces for you is that you still live a pretty meh life, right? How are you a household name, Pisces? And it's like, you're known as the person that has all this stuff and all of this life, all this lifestyle, but for you, it's you're despondent. You're kind of just like not really, kind of like not that deep in it. And that lack of depth is not a judgment on you. It's just because of how non-specific it is. It's because there's not just like, I could become a mother. Let me find a good person to be a mother with. Or I could become a successful singer. Let me just find it. You got to find, because I think the problem with Pisces is like, now you don't want to tell your story because you know, there's all these people who come up with these, they're really connected deeply to their story and how they rose. And I feel like Pisces, you have a lot of embarrassment in certain ways about how you came into where you are in your life. And I think a lot of it has to do with like, you were kind of used to always just like, again, the Pisces rise to stardom or their own personal power is kind of just like slipping and sliding on a late night. Like that's kind of the vibe. And it's like, I think that has that non-specificity and the kind of like just taking whatever lucky opportunities were there, whatever doors were open. It kind of turned you into a person that the world could create instead of you coming to the world showing that you are the creation in and of itself. So I'm holding space because that is a long life journey and you have nothing but time. But you know, I love you over here on the stew. I'm really excited for you because I think this King of Cups is like a huge thing for you. Like I said, the best part about this reading is you've already seen your specific life. You've already seen the friends, the people, the community, the place, the region, where you're actually supposed to be, like specifically. And I think you're really excited about that. I think you're just petrified of the fact that it means hollowing out your entire foundation up until this point. So let's see what your overall is, and then we'll be done. Oh, shit. Pisces. Yeah, it's going to hit you on the head, brother. You've been communicated. You've been offered an Ace of Pentacles. Don't let this sit there for too long, Pisces. Don't be upset that the Ace of... I think there's something, there's a message that gets sent to you from someone who represents this new cycle you're stepping into. But I think you're freaking out because it's like saying yes to this Ace of Pentacles, this physical connected reality with him, it would mean that you have to choose radically. It's just mad specific. It's not that it's a small offer. It's not that it's not somebody, it's not like you're dropping everything and dropping your stardom and going with a hobo. It doesn't even necessarily mean that. It just means like what you're claiming will really vulnerably tell the truth about something very specific about you. And I think it's almost like what's coming into you, you want it more than anything, but you're actually terrified of it because that's the reason you haven't even had it even up until now. That's why it has to come through another person. Because this is like, oh my God, this is like the type of partner I've always wanted. Or this is like the type of friend I would have always wanted, the type of friend group I would have always wanted. And they're offering it to me. But then it's like the reason you don't already have those, the reason that you're not like aligning with them already is because of the fears, because of the things, the way you're living your life and setting up your life to where you can be fearful of it. And so that's just what I want you to know is like to grab this and to have it in your hand, either way, you're going to have to face that fear. Either way, you know what I mean? But boy, if you do this, if you do that sexy death and rebirth, like we talk about the stew, this is awesome. This is awesome. It's a wheel of fortune. This is an Ace of Pentacles. This is, oh my God, do you see how this, we started off? You're trading the fucking quantity for quality. That's your Aquarius season 2026. You're going to accept the quality offer over the quantity of offers because you know the truth now. That having a bunch of shit that isn't specific to you is nothing in comparison to the guys who have that thing that God brought down for them. It has their name on it. And God wants you to be able to have something that has your actual name on it, right? And God doesn't want you to continue to build a legacy where you're doing yourself dirty with karma and shit because this shit isn't super specific. You're trying to make it specific. It doesn't look any more specific to the girls. It doesn't, you know? So... remember we talked about this. 2026, my goal for you guys. We're coming right back home to South Pisces. I love you so, so much. Happy Aquarius season. I hope this was such an informative message for you. I absolutely adore you guys. I truly do. Thank you so much for being here and lending me your ears and your heart and your mind. Bye.